Welcome in to the DNVR Avalanche Pregame Show. Rudo, Blais, and AJ coming at you as the Avs are in Seattle for the very first time to take on the Kraken. Unfortunately, no Phillip Grubauer in the game as, well, let's face it, Grubauer has not played particularly well behind Seattle so far this year, but still for Avs fans, maybe a little bit disappointing not to see the old goaltender go up against the team. Still got Joonas Donskoi, though, so...
On the fourth line? Is that what I saw?
He has not scored a goal yet this year still, so...
But in the last 5 games, he has been the one that's been shooting on net the most for that team.
Is there not a guaranteed goal better than playing your old team?
It's obvious, right? Like, it's happening. Like, we're all settled up with the fact that ends tonight.
I mean, especially since for 5 games, he's been shooting on net a lot. It's just like, it's pretty much a given that tonight it's going to happen.
Hopefully it's just one.
Yes.
not anything too crazy from Donskoi. But the Avs, they're going in here with the same lineup that they just ended up beating Vancouver with, literally just down the road as far as travel is concerned for them. So it's not like anything too grueling there. Expectations for tonight, Blais?
I mean, if you're the Avalanche, you have to be expecting a pretty good win tonight. I mean, this team has been struggling. Like we talked about just now, the goaltending has not been good at all. Grubauer has been, I think, almost... Is he not dead last in the league for saves for a starting goalie?
For expected goals against, I believe he is by far the worst.
He and Carter Hutton.
Yeah.
And Carter Hutton got hurt early on.
After giving up 8 goals in the first game of the season.
He's just been sitting at a number waiting for Grubauer to catch it.
But even with Grubauer not playing, I mean, there isn't a reason that the Avs shouldn't basically dominate every part of this game.
Certainly when you look at the talent disparity between the two teams,
Absolutely.
Even with McKinnon out, you're looking at that lineup and going, I'll take Nazem Kadri against Yanni Gourde. It's not that bad of a matchup, really. So we'll have to see. AJ, I know you were feeling a little bit less confident tonight, talking a little bit about how Seattle might be a little due.
Well, yeah. So Seattle has been a lot of what we expected in terms of solid defensively, struggle to finish offensively. But with the goaltending just hasn't been there.
Yeah.
And that was where we expected because if they get the goaltending that they've been expecting, they're nowhere near as bad as they are.
Definitely.
They're certainly not losing 5 games in a row. And, they aren't getting blown out on a semi-regular basis. It's really just that their goaltending has betrayed everything else that they've done. So I think that's the key is if they could... If Driedger goes in tonight and isn't any good,
they're going to lose.
This probably doesn't end up being a very close game by the end of it. Yeah. But what makes me nervous is that Colorado just didn't play well against Vancouver the other day. They didn't play well in Vancouver. They didn't play well in Columbus. Like, they don't look nearly as comfortable on the road this year outside of the one game in St. Louis.
And St. Louis was, hampered for that game pretty badly.
Yeah, well, and they were a little compromised, so were the Avs.
Fair.
And the Avs just dominated that game, and that was still a game that they won 5-3.
Yeah, it looked close at the end.
It was. They haven't just had a start to finish comfortable road win yet because that St. Louis game did get close.
Yeah.
They've been so good in the last couple of years. Like, obviously, last year when they had that, 20-game regulation unbeaten streak at home, that's all good and well. You know what? A lot of good teams are really good at home. It's the road record that really separates the elite from the good. And right now, the Avalanche, I just don't... they've gotten by. They've gotten some wins. But I don't think that they've played very well away from Ball Arena. And I don't... and for long stretches of games. And again, tonight, no McKinnon, no Comfort, no Byram. You're missing some important guys there.
Yeah,
and I think that it's a concern for me that they're going into another road venue against a team that really, 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 really needs a win.
Yep.
And so they're going to get an abnormal level of desperation again out of Seattle. But it's also if you get up 2-0,
They'll pack it in
that
for you.
might be a team that might be a team that just starts to feel the additive of that many losses, where you just kind of like,
here we go again.
Like
syndrome,
Vancouver,
yep.
like giving up on its coach and like having an effort thing. Like I don't think that's a Seattle problem.
No.
I don't know what that hand signal means.
I don't either.
We're getting gestures from off screen here right now.
Well, to your point, though, I think you bring up the 2-0 lead. One of the things the Avs have struggled at, as AJ is staring at his phone, the Avs have not held leads well. Even looking at the Vancouver game, they took care of business on their second try through, but they ended up blowing their initial lead in the second and then at the start of the third period.
Like a 1-0 lead, I'm not going to drill them.
Sure.
Like, it's not the same as when you blow multiple leads against Columbus.
Definitely
right?
different.
That was more painful.
But at the same time, you're talking about that pushback of desperate teams.
And you are talking, they have been a bad third period team up to this point. They got away with it against the Canucks. The Canucks really self-sabotaged.
Yeah.
And the Avs kind of just got out of the way, and we're like,
okay.
nice, man. It's like when you're standing in line somewhere, you're waiting to order lunch, and the person in front of you has a full-blown social media level meltdown, and you're just like, all right, well, I guess I'm just going to get, I just want like a number 4 with a bottle of water, please. Like, you kind of just got out of the way of the chaos and just continued on with your business there. But they got lucky. Like, Vancouver shot themselves in the foot, and the Avs just didn't do anything to help them.
You have two teams, really, that are looking to kind of correct some wrongs then, right? Like, the Avs team on the road.
Yeah.
Really looking to, like, put a full, complete game, a full package together on an away game. And for the Kraken, just,
Seattle's a 4-win hockey team.
Yeah.
They're closer to Arizona than anybody else in the
Absolutely,
West.
Well, and you have a chance right now to win your 4th in a row. You have a chance to continue to put them down.
Yep.
And look, when you're competing for playoff positioning with other Western teams, they may not be in your division, so they're not in immediate concern. But you have a chance to continue to put them down. You want to. You want to make life harder on as many Western Conference teams as you can to just in case you get involved in a wild card race. If things just don't ever click, they don't ever go on the extended 10-2 run that we think that they're capable of and that they should eventually be having. The winning 4 out of every 5 or whatever. They don't do that. I mean, you want to keep these teams down. And Seattle's in a position where we were talking 2 weeks ago. It gets late really early in the NHL. Well, Seattle's in red alert mode already.
Yeah.
And I don't think Seattle really thought of themselves as a strong playoff contender, but this is not what they had in mind.
Shane Wright wasn't the plan either.
This was not what they had in mind. Now, if it ends up that way and they end up building around Shane Wright and Matty Beniers,
take the tub,
this is going to be a really short-lived existence at the bottom of those standings. But they are, they're not as bad as their record suggests, but that's because of goaltending. And really, if a team's going through a rough goaltending stretch, just take advantage
pile on
of that shit.
All right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just keep it up. They've got they got 2 games against the Canucks while the Canucks were reeling. They get a game against Seattle while Seattle is on an extended losing streak. They have Monday against Ottawa, which is supposed to be the first game back for the Sens after the COVID break.
But
they've got Dallas next weekend, who is totally falling apart in a lot of different ways right now.
All right. Save it for the post game.
What I'm saying is they're building toward this is an opportunity for them to really build confidence.
Yeah, you got to win these games.
We'll talk about more later. We got a watch along to get to here, so we got to move on.
Oh my god, I forgot it's a pregame show, isn't it?
Yes. Devon Toews, AJ and I have talked about him a little bit before. Blais, where do you rank Toews in the Avs defense right now? 1, 2, or 3?
2.
2?
Yeah.
You still got Makar at 1?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't.
What you got? So are we talking
right now
overall or defensive, offensive, or the whole package?
Who's the best player right now?
Oh, I'm still good. Makar.
Who's playing the best of the Avs defense right now?
That's a tough one, but I'm still going to go with Makar. I will say Toews is a close second.
Makar has the higher ceiling, no doubt.
Yeah,
for sure. Toews has changed that defense since he got back.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
You look at last game. You go and you dig into any of the analytics last game, any of the shot share last game. Devon Toews and Cale Makar are the only ones who are over 50% in pretty much anything.
Yeah.
They're the only ones who are over 40% in pretty much anything. And when you look at Makar away from Toews, Makar struggled. And somehow Toews is just hanging around at 60%.
Do you think that flips, though? Like, if Toews doesn't have Makar, does that flip his switch as well? He's not.
No, he's doing just fine.
Is he? Okay.
He's doing just fine. And, we're talking, Toews has played, 4 or 5 games this year?
Small sample size.
So it's not...
right.
I don't think this is going to continue long term. I don't think... Our expectations for Cale Makar are something, special.
Yeah.
And right now, Toews is just casually... I would say a top 5 defenseman in the NHL.
Yeah, I mean, if we're playing a pickup game and those two are standing there and those are your picks, I'm going 10 out of 10 times with Makar.
Sure.
That's fine. I mean, right now I'm picking, just having watched them since Toews came back, I'm picking Toews. But, that's the funny thing is Jared Bednar just didn't have to make that choice.
Right.
But the point of this is not to dunk on Makar or anything. It's just to say that Devon Toews,
he's a stud.
He came back and almost immediately got overlooked because Sam Girard blew up.
Yeah.
Because Cale Makar had a couple of big highlight reel moments. And it was just Devon Toews is back. And by the way, he scored in every game. And he's dominant defensively. And he's just doing everything. And everything defensively for the Avs has gotten significantly better with him out there.
Devon Toews and the Avs start winning games when he comes back.
Wow. That's really weird.
They start doing a better job of holding leads. I'm not going to say completely better.
Hadn't been perfect.
Yeah, but they're not blowing multiple leads per game all of a sudden. So it definitely has had a positive impact significantly. And this dude finished 9th in the Norris voting last year. So it's not
pretty good himself. Not too shabby of a dude on the back end. But it's been, I wanted specifically to talk about it because I think that this has, I keep saying this, and eventually I'm going to be right, but I think that this tonight has a good chance to be a much lower event type of game.
Yeah.
A 40-40 Corsi type game.
Shots are 25-20 kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And Toews is a big part of Colorado excelling in a situation like that. I think he's kind of that linchpin because we've seen with Girard, I think I'm good on Sam Girard being a top pairing defenseman. I think he would be on plenty of teams, but I think he would be miscast there. And I think he's perfectly cast in Colorado right now with Toews and Makar as your true blue, legitimate, high-end, top NHL pairing, special stuff. NHL teams
don't know what to do against
right.
it. Yeah.
There are very few NHL teams, if you said, okay, here's your top pairing, that would not give up their top pairing for Toews and Makar.
Yeah.
This is actually just pissing me off.
I mean, what does that pairing look like in Olympic hockey?
I'm hoping we don't find out. Just because I'm trying to talk myself into the Americans having a medal shot, and wanting it to be competitive. But if you're Team Canada, are you legitimately because they did it with Jake Muzz and Drew Doughty, where they were just
just bring the pairing mate,
well, you guys are just dominating the NHL together. Why screw with it?
Yeah,
go and do that. You could make a strong argument for that. I mean, Canada's defense is absurd.
And definitely over the next few weeks, I mean, you're going to have a larger sample size of that group together, right? And it's well, the question is what if Bo and Byram gets if this group gets his way in more than one period together, what do they look like? Because Colorado's preferred defense has played 17 minutes, if that,
in a game together this season. Maybe not even that, and this is the 14th game of the season, so I think that there's another level for that group to get to, but I think seeing Toews come back, I might have actually underrated him over the summer, just how important he really was, because Makar and Girard, like, they're so good, and EJ coming back, and Byram having the start that he did probably muted some of the impact of not having Toews, because they went from a high-level defenseman in Byram to a high-level defenseman in Toews.
Is that not his whole career, though? Like, even when he was with the Isle, right? Like, I mean, people are like, who was this guy? Like, if you didn't pay attention to the East Coast and what was going on over there.
I mean, when Toews first hit the NHL, I didn't like him as a defenseman. I'd seen him in Bridgeport, and I thought he should have been a wing because he just fit. He fit what the Isles did on their fourth line, like, perfectly, and I was like, he should be a wing. But anyway,
Foodie for defense, taste for wing.
Well, and then he hit the NHL, and he just kept getting better. And you're like,
moon rocketed.
You're like,
I mean,
watching this guy, and you're like, this guy's fucking awesome.
Cool.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that the Avs got him.
Toews is dope.
Dude.
Yeah.
Moving on to the news of the day, Jared Bednar signs a 2-year extension with the Avs, who will be with the Avs if he completes the contract through 2024.
Already the longest tenured Avs head coach ever. 2 wins shy of winningest regular season.
We'll catch that easily. If he plays out the contract, he will breach the 500 game mark with the Avalanche.
Yep.
So,
Which, P.S., rare-ish
for coaches,
in this era, for coaches to stick this long with the franchise, just because it's easier than ever to fire a coach and find another guy that you could talk yourself into. We're no longer in the era of guys signing 4-year deals and coaching through them. You coach contracts are a mirage, which is why if you're really anti-Bednar, you shouldn't worry too much about this, because if the team falls apart and shits the bed and seriously falls short of expectations, the Avs at any point can just be like, we're out.
terminated. Yeah.
Coach contracts are a mirage. So
Agreed. But it's still a show of faith, right?
Oh, it definitely is. But it's weird. I was talking to Z about it before tonight as I was driving in, and it's weird because the contract is both really important to have and also kind of meaningless.
Yeah.
Because it's really important to have, because coaches with expiring deals lose leverage as a coach. Because a player can tune that guy out. A guy like Nathan McKinnon, who knows that the franchise is going to
move on.
Absolutely everything in the world to get him to sign an extension on July 1st this year. Like, they're going to move heaven and earth to make that happen. If he tunes out Jared Bednar, then he has power over Bednar that is very, very important. And if Bednar doesn't have a contract, that increases the player's leverage a little bit to just tune that guy out and be like, look, man, this isn't working. And what you're like, I'm not buying what you're selling anymore. And I'm more important than you are long term. The franchise can find another one of you and not another one of me.
Yeah.
But giving him the extension takes away some of that. And I'm not to suggest that Nathan McKinnon has a problem with Jared Bednar, because as we've seen, they're both competitive guys, but Nathan McKinnon's most NHL success has come under Jared Bednar, who has gotten the absolute best out of him.
Yep.
And I think McKinnon recognizes that and says, oh, hey, this isn't just me. This is a guy who convinced me to do things a different way, and look what happened in my career.
The extension avoids the Byram chirp game, right? Where if Bednar is expiring, you go, you're gone in 3 months, bud.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now it's, okay, I'm going to continue working with this guy for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
You have to keep fostering that relationship.
It also shows that there's something there between the players and the coach as well. Like, you're not giving a contract extension to a coach that has lost the bench. Like, like some people like to say.
If you're in tune with your players at all, if you're a community, and I know for a fact that they have front office people who are in the locker room every single game.
Yeah.
Who are talking to players and are communicating and whatever. If they had any inkling that they were out, especially the leadership core was out on Jared Bednar,
he'd be out.
Yeah. This would not be news of the day.
Yeah,
now, we've heard there had been talks of an extension for the last couple of months, so I think this was probably something that's been in the works. It's weird to me that a coach contract would take
Mid-season gets done too.
Mid-season doesn't bother me so much as it's just weird that it would take time. Like, did the Avs want to see how he handled things? Like, were they just hammering out details? I don't know the answer to that question, but there were talks about it before the start of the year. It's not a surprise to me. And at the same time, when I say that it's also kind of meaningless, the Avs could turn around and fire this guy in 30 games.
Yep.
If they lose the next 25 games,
He's getting fired, yeah.
That guy's getting fired, and this bit of news is entirely meaningless.
Well, I think Bednar knew a little bit because he did buy a big new beautiful house over the summer. I'm just saying, I've heard it from some people. Put quite a bit of money into a nice new house here
in Colorado, yeah.
Yeah, you say that, but JT Miller, remember the interview with JT Miller when he got traded from Tampa?
Yep.
He was like, "Oh, my wife is 8 months pregnant. I just bought a dream house. I just got fucking traded to Vancouver."
Oh, that just blows my whole thing out of the water then.
Okay,
But I mean, good for Petsy.
lightning round. We got to do lightning round betting here. We all have Joonas Donskoi scoring a goal.
Yep.
I'm taking Avs on the money line. I'm not taking them to cover. I think it's going to be a close game.
I took the cover.
You took the cover.
I've got some zany ones in here.
Oh
again.
boy.
I've got Landeskog's under on shots on goal. I think we're due for a Landeskog poop game.
I think this has got to be the Mikko game, probably. I'm feeling Mikko here.
Okay.
Just because Kadri can't keep scoring 3 points a night. Right?
Well, and it's like, okay, we keep saying that, and then
he does it again.
Well, but it's like, okay, so if he stops, does that mean that they just lose?
Maybe.
Hey, so last game I was right on the first score.
Nice. Mikko.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd go a little bit even crazier, and I went with Jack Johnson to score
God.
the first goal.
Look, the only goal he has this year was the first
take
goal.
that bet
So
whatsoever. But don't take that bet. But I did take it.
of his one goal, it was the first goal of the game. So it counts for something.
And I did take a lot of assists. I think I took. Let's see. Who did I take? Let's see. I took Mikko with an assist, Makar with an assist, and Kadri with an assist. So I'm thinking
There you go.
Avs are going to
Got a pretty good spread. Got a pretty good spread going there.
Yeah. So you just think that the power play unit's going to score
Keep
again?
working.
There you go, right there. I really just don't think the Kraken can keep up with the skating. So there's going to be a lot of penalties.
There you
It's
go.
gonna be. I'm really curious to see how the teams match up stylistically because Dave Haxtell wants to grind
Just
it out.
muck the hell out of
And
it.
so
yeah.
I'm curious how effective they are because the Avs have shown that if a team wants to play that way, but they just can't hang on that night, and the Avs are motivated, they blow those teams out. But if they aren't committed and they are playing lazy and selfish, like they have gotten into extended funks this year playing, teams like that usually cram it down their throat pretty badly.
Dave's a great guy. I've drank beers with Dave.
I would also say to kind of reinforce my sort of just negative general feelings about this game, Darcy Kemper's had 5 great games in a row.
No, he's going to keep it going. He's keeping it going.
At some point, a goalie's going to put up a bleh game. Not necessarily a stinker, but a bleh game. And we'll see what the team does if that happens.
All right. If you want to hear stories about Blais drinking with Dave Haxtell, go watch the watch along with us. The link to it is in the DNVR lounge. Become a member. Get in there. Come join us for the watch along on playback.
In a hotel room.
It does feel like a hotel room a little bit in here. We're out of here for the pregame. We hope to see you all in the watch along room. Either way, we'll be live postgame too. So we will talk to you in a little bit or later. Have a good rest of your night and enjoy the game.